legends, and welcome to Blunt Force Healing Podcast, episode 281. Let me correct the camera. So, today is a final day, or was a final day, of the visit of my mother and my brother, which lasted for a week. They came to, spend a little bit of time with us, especially with Julian, my son, because obviously my brother is also a godfather to Julian, and we don't see each other very often, so it was a great opportunity for them to fly to Ireland and spend a week with us. It was a packed week. We did pretty much every day something, so we kind of visited a couple of places, got a couple of points of interest because I wanted for them to enjoy a little bit of Ireland and County Donegal, especially because both of them were with us multiple times in the past, but all those times were on the east coast when we used to live closer to Dublin area. But since we moved to Donegal, there's one exception. My mother was with my father for Christmas here. But again, it was winter time. It wasn't as pleasant as it is now, even though we have spells of rain from time to time and it's sometimes windy. The temperature is great, and obviously it's way more colorful and vivid and enjoyable in summertime. So my mother decided to come with my brother, and every day we visited at least one spot to make sure that 7 days is, well, it wasn't exactly 7 days. Probably we used maybe 6 or 5 of them, but we tried to compress as much of experiences as possible within those times. Why was it only 6 or 5 days? Is because when they had a flight from Poland, it was a very late flight on 19th. They actually landed on 20th. If you listen to the podcast or read the blog, you know that it was a tough day or night for me as well, because they flew in, they landed after midnight, and I had to drive to Shannon, which is about 3 hours drive from Donegal town, and then come back with them to Donegal town another 3.5 hours. So we literally were passing Sligo when it was already daylight coming. I think it was very close to sunrise, because obviously everything was, visible. There was a lovely mist, and Ben Bulbin was looking very nice. But you know, it was it was a tough night. We went to sleep, and everybody had that hangover after waking up that day. So, although we visited Morvach Beach, because it was the closest beach and closest point of interest, my mother was already there, but my brother wasn't. So, we decided to have a walk there, and we actually happened to get soaking wet because a thunderstorm came in just as we were finishing the last mile or so. But the weather was pleasant in general. It was very warm. But again, we were all tired, and only that happened on this day. So, while they were flying out on 19, it really started on 20th. And even 20th was, kind of just on the safe side. Then we obviously had a couple of days of doing, like, we visited a couple of beaches. We wanted to share the experience of driving into the beach, which is quite common in some places in Ireland. And one of the closest ones to us is Rosnola, which is about 17 kilometers, so about 10 miles, I would say, from Donegal town. So we visited that on Wednesday, so the next day, and we spent a nice time in there. Then obviously we kind of kept going with the beaches, and the following day we visited Tullan Strand, which is more of a surfer's destination, but also a beautiful strand of yellow sand, a lot of nice waves, the cliffs, and the Bundoran town, which is the more of a holiday type of town out there. We had a nice meal in there within the Tulan area. There's a Tulan Tin Can, which is more like a food truck, and they serve very decent food for takeaway. So that was a great day too. And the following day, I don't remember exactly. So we had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So on Friday, good question. I don't remember what we visited on Friday. I think we went to. Okay. I have a slight amnesia, I guess. So everything is written in the blog. So if you want to check, please do so, or you can check the episodes from those days. It should be mentioned, but I don't want to waste time or repeat too much of what happened. But well, let's actually check that out. So it was Merva, then it was Rosnola, then we were on Tulan. Oh, on Friday we actually visited that lovely mysterious castle in Glenvia um, Park, which is a kind of long lake surrounded by mountains. It's a beautiful and scenic spot, and it has a great garden with amazing gardens. Great castle with amazing gardens. A lot of flowers are blooming at this time, and we were in the evening, so we could not only enjoy those scents of those plants that are there, but also there was no visitors at the time, so we had all castle and castle grounds and the garden for ourselves. More on that on Friday's episode. The day before, so the Saturday, we were on a small hike. Just my wife stayed home, and my mother, my brother, and Julian, and myself, we went to Wind Farm in Minadreen, which was another cool experience, especially for my brother that likes to appreciate those treats of engineering, which actually those windmills are, and in many cases you can't really get close to those windmills, but in Minadreen, or in general in Ireland, there are many places where you can actually walk not only close by, but you can actually get in touch with that huge windmill and see its sheer size and lovely uh, colossal and immense shape and size. So this was Saturday, and Sunday was the last full day that we were to spend together. So we decided to give it a kick, and we went to probably one of the furthest western parts of Ireland, which is on our side in Donegal. It's Malinbeg, which is a very small village. It doesn't even have any shops or any amenities really, except for a hostel, I think, and maybe some B&B. But it has a beautiful cove slash beach that is you need to go down from a cliff. There are stairs made especially for that. There's a silver strand, what they call it. It's a beach in that cove. It's kind of protected from all sides with the cliff, and it's quite amazing. We spent a nice time there. It was meant to be a little bit cloudy, a little bit even on the rainy side, but when we came there, it was scorching hot where we stayed. So we had a nice, sunbathing session. Then we played a little bit of soccer, and then we went to get some, water fun with waves. The water was also on a decent, I would say, level in terms of temperature, and waves were not too big but big enough to have fun. So we spent a lovely afternoon there, and then we had a little bit of, you know, hesitation because we didn't know if we will manage our plans and get some food afterwards. So we decided to switch things and try and get through Glencolumkill, which is another kind of village, but it's more touristic folk village with some amenities where you can get some food, like the restaurants. So we were fortunate to find the kitchen. It's the name in Gaelic. I don't remember what's the Irish name of this premise, but it's a it seems like a family driven business, and the food was great. Well, maybe one cake wasn't the best. It didn't fit the rest of the dishes, which were very good because they were made of fresh stuff. The staff was very pleasant and friendly and helpful, and they even kept serving us after the supposed closing hour. Of course, there was many more tourists out there, so they stayed basically to make sure that they serve everyone to the last bit and then close. So it was a very nice touch to our Sunday because we needed that food to get it off the pun intended off the plate. So basically we had that Malinbeg visit on the beach, then the food, and the last kind of point of the program that we really wanted to complete with my wife, my mother, and my brother, and Julian, of course, was to visit Sleeve League Cliffs. And Sleeve League is quite a special place, to be honest. I always wanted to visit it when we were in Kilcock and closer to Dublin. When we moved to Donegal, we visited that since probably about 3 times already. And sometimes it's hard to get the weather there because they are high, and you know it's a quite exposed area to the ocean, so it's very often the case that you might get a lot of rain or clouds and you won't see anything. But because the weather was so good, we decided to push for it, and we had amazing time. My wife obviously enjoyed it as always, and Julian also, but my mother, she has a fear of heights, and it was very difficult for her, but in the end she was so happy that she went there and enjoyed the views. Even saying that today at the airport when we were saying the goodbyes before the flight. So yeah, those cliffs are amazing because Ireland is well known. If you go from a touristic perspective, it Irish side of tourism is focused mainly on a couple of areas to visit, and most of the people only know the cliffs of Moher, which are on, I would say, Midwest, coast around Galway, Dingle area. So they are very impressive because they are, perpendicular to the actual sea surface. So they, albeit they have like probably about 200 meters in height, they are straight drop into the sea, and they are infamous for many people falling there until they became guarded with rail, but people still kind of cross that barrier and want to go to the closer to the edge. The problem is that the winds there are dangerous. Sometimes people lose footing because of you know the sheer difference between the height and their balance being lost, and unfortunately there are many deaths associated with that place. But obviously thousands of tourists visit that every year, so unfortunately you always find people that are crazy enough to risk their lives, and they're unfortunate to die there. But this is 200 meters. In comparison, the cliffs that we were on in Sleeve League, they might not be the straight drop to the sea. In most cases, they are slightly, sloppy. But in the top, peak level, they are 600 meters high. And in most cases, when you go for a hike and start from the viewing point and climb, let's say, a mile along the edge, then you're probably between 400 and 500 meters high, which is decent, and the views are amazing and they are breathtaking. And if you consider that as a very high cliff, then they are not the highest. There are higher cliffs in Ireland. They are in County Mayo. They are almost 700 meters high, I think 688, and they are on Achill Island, and they are probably the third highest in Europe. We are yet to visit them, although we were very close to them in another beach in 2021, but I never managed to hike those cliffs and go there. Maybe this year, I don't know. But yeah, so that week was great, and today they were flying back to Poland through England, and we dropped them with Julian to the airport, the Knock airport. So it was fortunately closer than Shannon or Dublin. It was just a halfway to Shannon, so about 1.5 hours drive. We said our goodbyes, and yeah, that was it. It was fun week, but it's time to get back on track. That week had its ups and downs, and one of the downs is that I had a really bad week in terms of habits and routines here in blogging and podcasting. They were usually the episodes I was doing last minute. I even lost some streak. I actually wrote yesterday about losing streak in Elevate, the newest app that I'm doing the brain training. But fortunately, it actually accepted my training yesterday, and I am still on the streak, which is cool because I started that training before midnight, and I actually finished it couple of seconds after midnight, and it looked like it was lost, but it wasn't. So I'm on 7 days streak there. All right, I think I won't be, providing more information here today or boring you too much with the details. We're almost 20 minutes in. I want to close it off, write the blog post. I still have a lot of work to do, and this will be a very tough week. At least the next 3 days will be very tough. So once I survive them, I will be very happy. And maybe I can enjoy a little bit of that summer and holidays here in Ireland when it gets quieter. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for popping by and spending time with me. If you want, please check the previous episodes. I think 2 or 3 of them, I think 2 of them are outdoorsy episodes that I recorded in the field. One is definitely, I think, from Friday. Yeah, the one from Friday is actually recorded in Glenavia, Lake and Castle Park. So that is one, and yesterday one is also in two parts that I stitched together. So I recorded main update on Malin Beg, and then I had a chance, so I recorded additional kind of bonus um, bit on Sleeve League, so you can actually see the Sleeve League cliffs in a beautiful sunset. So I highly recommend to go there and check that episode out on YouTube or Spotify video. In the meantime, let me wrap up and stay tuned for tomorrow.